Are we ready on our technology? Okay, great. We ready to record? We'll go ahead and begin then. We welcome you all out today to our weekly meeting of the Board of Commissioners of Weber County. We appreciate your attendance with us today. We want to remind you as well that, again, for is this the second or third? Second meeting in a row now. We are streaming live on the internet, on the YouTube channel. We are still very, very excited about the opportunity that we have to allow more and more people to participate, even if they are not able to be here online. So, or excuse me, in person. So if you have the opportunity on other occasions to visit with us, feel free to go to the Weber County webpage. On the right-hand side, there's a red click here button that'll lead you right to the YouTube link, as well as if you go specifically to the commission page, you should be able to find that as well. So we look forward to having the opportunity for anyone who has a computer to participate with us in this process. We do have another interesting and I think exciting change to our agenda today. For quite a while now, I have had the desire to do as we have done in many occasions throughout all of government, and that is to begin our meeting with an invocation. I had some great experiences during my time in service in the state legislature, where every session was opened with an invocation. And my honest opinion of the matter is that it's pretty hard to sit quietly for a moment and bow your head and relax and acknowledge a higher authority, a higher being, and then get up and act like a fool. And so I think that, to me, the opportunity that we have to begin on a little bit of a humble and gentle note with an invocation is a good thing for the folks of Weber County. It's been a long time coming, and I'm grateful for the support of the commissioners for allowing us to do that. So in this particular case, we will ask Pastor Dave Malinak from the Berean Baptist Church. Did I say it right, Pastor Dave? Appreciate that. To offer our invocation, after which our Pledge of Allegiance will be offered by led today by David Wilson from our attorney's office, and our thought of the day by Commissioner Ebert. Pastor Dave, the floor is yours.
Let's pray. Lord God of heaven, we praise your name. You're exalted and you're very high, and you're above all things, whether we acknowledge it or not. And certainly there are those who believe we should not acknowledge your lordship or authority in the public square. But Lord, you are Lord of lords. You are King of kings. Your authority extends to everything and everyone and everything that we do. And so it's important that we acknowledge that authority, and we thank you that we have that opportunity here in this place at this time. We thank you for the Weber County Commissioners, for their desire to acknowledge your lordship and authority, and for their desire also to submit to it. And I pray that they would. Lord, I ask that you would give them special wisdom and guidance as they rule in our affairs, that you would guide them, but that you would govern them as well, and that they would govern as those who are under authority, that they would submit to you and to your wisdom, that they would desire that they would rule in the fear of the Lord. And Lord, above all else, we pray that your will would be done in this place, that you would bless our community, that you would bless us first of all with the fear of the Lord, and then from there that you would prosper us, that you would allow us to live quiet and peaceable lives, to pursue our calling freely, that we would not be free to violate your commands, but that we would be free to pursue a living lawfully. And I pray that they would be able to shape our laws in such a way as to allow that. And I pray that you would guide and help them. And we ask these things in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. We certainly appreciate that good prayer and invocation, and we'll proceed with our business. Okay, David.
Please rise and join me in pledge. I have two really quick quotes and thoughts. The first was by Mahatma Gandhi, and it says, "To believe in something and not live it is dishonest." And the second is by John Quincy Adams, and it states, "Always vote for principle. Though you may vote alone, you may cherish the sweetest reflection that your vote was never lost." That's it.
Thank you. Great thoughts. Appreciate that. All right. Last week we had 20 or so people watching online. Will somebody hurry and tweet that out? We've only got a few so far. We want to make sure and get our numbers up. All right. Moving on with our agenda. First is our consent items. Request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $6,075,526.39. Item number 2 is a request for approval of warrants number 317146 through 317367 in the amount of $2,008,192.68. And item number 3 is the request for approval of minutes for the meeting held on January 6th, 2014. Those are our consent items, Commissioners. Any discussion on those items or a motion?
I was just going to say really quickly, those are some large numbers, but at the beginning of the year, we have a lot of open POs that need to be approved for ongoing spending throughout the year, and that's why. So I would make a motion that we approve the consent items as read.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second to adopt the consent items. Is there discussion to that motion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. To our action items. Item number 1 is a request for approval of a resolution of the Board of the County Commissioners of Weber County appointing the county representative to the Mosquito Abatement District Board. Excuse me, I'm a little distracted there for a second. Every year, as we reorganize our office structure, we make assignments for liaison commissioners, which are responsible for the day-to-day operations of individual assignments that we have. And these commissioners generally work the most closely with a particular department head. In this particular case, one of the assignments that we have by statute is to have a representative to serve on the Mosquito Abatement District Board. I have been serving on that board, and in our discussion of the assignment changes, Commissioner Ebert has been assigned to do so. So this resolution is simply a resolution authorizing him as our representative to that board. So, Commissioner Ebert, anything you'd like to say to that?
I attended the meeting, and I look forward to serving on that board and getting to know all the board members, so I'm very interested in it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. Resolution number
8.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution number 8, appointing Commissioner Ebert to the Mosquito Abatement District Board.
Would you like to second that motion, Commissioner?
I'd love to second it. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion and a second that Commissioner Ebert be appointed to serve on the Weber Mosquito Abatement District. Is there any further discussion of that motion before we vote? Okay, seeing none, that's a roll call vote.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ebert?
Aye.
Chair Gibson?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 2 on our agenda is a request for approval of a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Weber County approving participation of Weber Human Services in the Utah County's indemnity pool as a separate and related and county-related entity member. I'll just quickly explain the situation behind that as well. As you know, we are a member, by interlocal agreement of the Utah Counties Indemnity Pool, which is counties that get together and basically self-insure ourselves through interlocal agreement. In the past, this membership has only been open to counties, but recently the Indemnity Pool Board allowed for other county-related entities to become to have that insurance coverage only after they have been sponsored by a county. And so in this case, Weber Human Services, which is a county subsidiary, fits the criteria that the board has set up to receive that insurance. They looked into the situation and found that they could save significant money. Of course, it comes from the same place that all of the tax money comes from, and that's our taxpayers. And so we felt like it was, as a board, as a Weber Human Services board, they voted and determined that it was a good move to make the change to receive that insurance through the indemnity pool. Now, this step is for us as a county to make sure that we want to act as the sponsor for Weber Human Services in that endeavor. Dave, did I explain that sufficiently, or is there anything else you think needs to be added? Okay, so the question is then, should we act as the sponsor for Weber Human Services in the indemnity to the indemnity pool so that they can receive insurance? Commissioners, comments on that?
Commissioners, that would be, I made a mistake on the first ordinance. I looked at the wrong number. This would be number 8. The previous is number 7.
Okay, we can do that without objection, commissioners. We'll just assume that the last one was number 7,
Absolutely.
and this will be resolution number 8.
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution number 8 to authorize the Weber Human Services to be part of the Utah County's indemnity pool.
Okay, is there a second?
I second.
Motion and a second then that we adopt and approve resolution number 8, approving the resolution, approving the participation of Weber Human Services in the indemnity pool. Discussion to the motion? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ebert?
Aye.
Chair Gibson?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, item number 3, this is the request for approval of the resolution of the Board of Commissioners confirming the appointment of Robert Hunter and Julie Southwick to the Board of Directors of Weber Human Services. As you remember, last week we nominated them in the first place for this service. Commissioners, remember, in this particular case, as per the bylaws of the Weber Human Services, the Weber County Commission makes those recommendations for those who would serve on that board. It then goes to Morgan County, who is a part of Weber Human Services, again by interlocal agreement. Morgan County agrees or disagrees with the recommendations, and then they come back to the Weber County Commission for final ratification. In this case, we have done the first 2 steps. We made our recommendations. Morgan County has agreed with those recommendations, so now this would be the final step in changing this board membership and putting and approving Ms. Southwick and Mr. Hunter as members of the Weber Human Services Board. Any questions on that? Comments? Motion.
I'm just very excited to see both Mr. Hunter and Ms. Southwick. I think they're very qualified. So I'd make a motion to accept resolution number 9, confirming the appointment of Robert Hunter as the aging representative and Julie Southwick as the substance abuse representative to the Board of Directors of Weber Human Services.
Second that.
Okay, motion and second then to approve that resolution, which would be resolution number 9, unless I'm wrong, resolution number 9.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ebert?
Aye.
Chair Gibson?
Aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you. Holland, would you come up here and help me with a technical issue real quick? Item number 4, request for approval of an economic development agreement by and between Weber County and SC Reed LLC. I wanted to take the opportunity to introduce to you Mr. Reed. If you'll stand up on the back row there, Mr. Stuart Reed, we appreciate you being here with us today. One of the things that we have been extremely focused on in Weber County over the last little while, and we clearly want this to become more of a major focus over the next little while, is our economic development efforts here in the county. Sometimes some of the cities do economic development, and they do a wonderful job in and of their own jurisdiction. But one of the challenges that we have as a county is we haven't had very good coordination in the past until just the last few years. And we are wanting to be as helpful as we possibly can to help the economic development efforts in our county move forward in a cohesive and understandable way for our community. We recognize that we as a community have a tremendous amount of quality of life, mainly because we're able to generate the type of services that are necessary through good, balanced economic development. And we are always looking for opportunities for enhancement to that economic development area. And we have an opportunity here through this resolution, through this contract, I should say, to bring Mr. Reed on as a consultant to help us with that effort here in the county. And we are very, very excited for the opportunity to work with him as we go forward. So, Commissioners, you can see the contract in front of you between the county and Mr. Reed. My hope and understanding is that he would work directly with our Economic Development Department that is already up and functioning very well, that he add his expertise and his knowledge and his contacts and direction as laid out in this contract so that we might take economic development in this county to a new step and a new future.
So as we've been having discussions and been talking about this in the last few years, I think this is going to be an awesome fit for Weber County. We know and seen some of the things Mr. Reed's accomplished in Salt Lake and in Ogden. And there's some great things in Weber County going on with economic development, and we can do more. And we've got a great economic development staff here with Doug Larson does a great job for us. And so this is just going to be another resource we have and to be able to start doing some things. So a lot of these cities have some room for growth. A lot of the growth in economic development will happen in the county because the county there's a lot of unincorporated areas in the county, and so we can start bringing this and as part of our county, and we all know that this will be a great thing for our citizens because it brings jobs and it brings a tax base there. So I am really excited about this. I think this is going to be wonderful.
Well, we could go on forever about Mr. Reed's accomplishments and his past ability to work with communities to do a great job in economic development. I think if you look at some of the examples in Salt Lake County and Ogden as well, it's the results definitely speak for themselves. But we'll let him toot his own horn at least at some point later down the road. Commissioner Ebert, do you have anything you want to add as the liaison to economic development?
Really quickly, we've been pretty lucky. Mr. Larson, who is presently our economic development staffing member, has created some new programs that he's in the beginning phases of rolling out with an economic development advisory board and some type of regional economic development plan. And Mr. Reed will bring some tools to that that we may not have the ability just with staffing to do. And those specific talents that you were talking about and his ability as a consultant to reach out will be a vital component of this plan that we have moving forward. So we're extremely excited about this, and we understand that there's so many different aspects of economic development, whether it's our economic development plan or transportation or education or the arts. And so we're excited about bringing all of these aspects together of our community to really strengthen what we can bring to our economic development expansion. So I'm really excited to have Mr. Reed on board and to work in harmony with Mr. Larson.
I appreciate that. Thank you. All right, this is a contract, right? Fatima, what number? Number 4? Contract number 4, Commissioners.
I'll make a motion that we accept contract number 4, which is the approval of the economic development agreement made by and between Weber County and SC Reed LLC.
I second that.
Okay, motion and a second then to adopt and approve contract number 4 between Weber County and SC Reed LLC. Is there discussion to that motion further? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item number 5 is the request for approval of a contract signed between Weber County and Commercial Mechanical for HVAC preventative maintenance for the Weber Center, which is the building we're in right now. Nate?
Thank you, Commissioners. As you stated, this is a contract. This is a new vendor for us. We have changed vendors on our maintenance agreement for our HVAC systems here in the building. These folks were very helpful to us and instrumental in the upgrades that we did recently here to the HVAC systems. And this agreement is a 3-year agreement. The numbers are there before you. It's paid on a quarterly basis, but the total for each year is around $5,000, and then there's a 2% increase each year for those 3 years. There are 2 one-year renewable options that can be exercised at the end of the initial 3-year agreement, and we recommend that you approve this agreement. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions for Nate?
Looks good to me. I'll make a motion to accept contract number 5 between Weber County and Commercial Mechanical for HVAC preventative maintenance.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion and a second to approve contract number 5 between Weber County and Commercial Mechanical. Nate, thank you for providing this to us early. We've had the chance to review it.
Great.
And I don't see anything wrong with it. Commissioners, if there's no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Nate. Item number 6, discussion and/or action on a requested approval for execution of zoning development agreement associated with a previously and conditionally approved request to rezone certain Powder Mountain property to the Ogden Valley Destination and Recreation Resort Zone. And Scott Mendoza from our planning department is the presenter on this. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, and good morning. What we have for you today is what we really believe to be the last step in putting together Powder Mountain's Ogden Valley Destination and Recreation Resort zoning. We'll be able to possibly put that into place today. More specifically, Commissioners, you do have for your consideration a proposed zoning development agreement that does go along with Powder Mountain's request that was presented to you back on December 23rd of last year. And as you most likely remember, that back on the 23rd, the Planning Division staff, along with Powder Mountain representatives, we presented during a public hearing Summit Mountain Holding Group's vision and their future master plan for nearly 6,100 acres up there in the Powder Mountain area. What resulted from the public hearing was an approval of the rezone, but it was basically conditioned upon bringing back to you for your consideration a zoning development agreement that really satisfied Weber County, its review agencies, and of course the applicant. For the most part, the agreement that you have before you today very closely resembles the development agreement that was put in place and approved back in what I believe to be November of 2012. There has been some new language added. There have been some new sections added. The new language was basically provided, or was intended to provide some clarity. The new sections that were added were really provided, they provide for conditions that the Planning Division staff and the Ogden Valley Planning Commission were both recommending. To bring those sections to your attention, on page 1 of your staff report, we've called those out and listed those for you. And Commissioners, really for today, that's all we have as far as a presentation. If you have any questions on the development agreement or any questions on the development itself, I'd be happy to try to answer those for you.
This one's one that we've kind of debated ad nauseum, haven't we? We've gone through this many, many times, and
We know this project very well.
we know the project very
Yeah.
well.
Well, this was one of there were some of the key, a little over 2 years ago, some of that stuff was done. And when I first came aboard, this is one of a project we've been working on ever since. And I got to tell our staff, we spend a lot of time working on this. We meet a lot, and we are doing a lot of things with this project, and it's a phenomenal project in Weber County with this going on at Powder Mountain. And also, we have another one going on up there too with our other 2 ski resorts up there. They're in different phases and different things, and they're important to Weber County. Weber County is becoming a kind of a ski destination. And so I appreciate our staff and what they've been doing on this. The stuff looks great. I know there's so much to work through to come up with these agreements on that. So I appreciate what you've done on that. And so it looks good. And so when you're ready for a motion, I don't know if the other commissioners, and I'll be glad to present one.
Well, again, so I'm new. I'm where Commissioner Bell was 2 years ago. And this report's 12 pages long. But as I read through it, there are several things that really stuck out to me. Summer Group was willing to put in a runaway truck ramp. That was added, apparently. Eventually build a Weber County Sheriff and Weber Fire District building or facility. Seemingly that's a big expense as a good partner. They conveyed property to the county for a dedicated road right-of-way. They consented to regional public trails and loop trails with dates and times attached, and so on and so on in here. Seemingly they're trying to be a good partner in the community and meet the needs and concerns that the community has raised. And so that's nice to see that this went back and those concerns that were brought forward were met.
Well, and I will just add to that, it's true, what both of these commissioners have said. This project has been going on for a long time. It's been one that has been studied, but along the way, there are still many, many steps. And I appreciate Commissioner Ebert pointing out that our goal, our responsibility here as representatives of the people here in this county is to watch this project every step of the way to make absolutely sure that the interests of the taxpayers are represented and protected. And I think that this is just one of those steps that I think we have that responsibility to do so. And so it's good that I'm glad to hear that you focus so much on that long report, and we'll continue to do that every step of the way. So, Scott, anything else we need to know before we vote on this issue?
I don't believe so.
Okay, commissioners?
Is it a contract or anything? Number 6. I'll make a motion that we accept contract number 6, which is the zoning development agreement for the ZMA 2014-01 for the mountain property at Ogden Valley Destination Recreational Resort Zone. Does that cover it all?
Covers enough.
I believe so.
Okay.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second then to approve and adopt contract number 6 which is the approval of the and execution of the zoning development agreement. And I won't read the rest of it. You can see it. Okay, is there any further discussion to the motion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Thank you, Scott.
Thank
for
you
your
very
effort.
much.
Ray, will you come out here, please? I hope you can hear me. Before we go into public comment, let me just mention, I see some folks here who I recognize from my neighborhood, and I appreciate you being here. I received an email this morning. I'm assuming that your interest is the 12th Street project. I just wanted you to know that I received an email this morning from someone who said, I was planning on coming to the Planning Commission meeting at 5 o'clock tonight, but then I found out it had been moved to 10. And I just want to make sure that you understand that this is not the Planning Commission meeting, and that I have heard that at the Planning Commission meeting there is going to be some discussion regarding this project, which is at 5 o'clock tonight. That notwithstanding, of course, you are welcome, if you would like to participate in this meeting in our public comment section, which we are at now. So before we do public comment, though, Ray has walked into the building and is on full attention as usual. We love Ray. I just wanted to take the opportunity to publicly thank this great individual who has become a dear friend of mine for his years of dedicated service to this county. I can't do that to all right now because they're not all in this room. But because of Ray was here, I wanted to specifically single him out. He's someone that we see every single day. Whatever job it is that we do in our particular assignments, wherever we are, isn't it wonderful when we do it the very, very best that we can? And I don't think there's anybody in this building who has seen Ray do his job that cannot say that he has done it the very, very best that he can. His assignment is going to end here with us within a couple of days. He retires. I think his last day is Thursday. Is that right, Ray? And he is going to have a little retirement party over at the sheriff's office on Thursday. We're also going to have a little bit of a get-together for him up in our commission office a little bit later this afternoon. But I just wanted to point out what I consider to be an absolutely exemplary public servant who has filled his life, his career with great public service. And Ray, I don't know what else to say besides we love you, we're going to miss you, we're grateful that you're doing something, that you're going to have some time to spend some time with your wife and family, but we are going to miss you tremendously, and we hope that you'll remember us with as fond memories as we'll remember you. So thank you very much. Commissioners, anything else you'd like to say?
Absolutely. I echo that all the way. I've known Ray for a lot of years, clear back from early 1980s when we had an opportunity to work together, and he's going to be truly missed around here. And so thank you, Ray. I've appreciated you. Thank you.
1042, Ray.
Wow. No one got that but you and I and Ray. Oh, yeah, letter.
I have no idea. Let's give Ray a round of applause.
Just so you know, 1042 means signing off duty.
Not till Thursday, Ray. Okay. All right, to our public comments. Now is the time for public comment. If any are inclined to do so, please come to the microphone, state your name for the record. Just remember when you make your public comments that if they regard, if it's not something that's on the agenda, the commissioners are fairly unlikely to be able to respond because we can't take action or even frankly discuss items that are not on the agenda. So if you would like to come to the microphone, if you would like to make public comment, please do so, and the commissioners will walk around do the best that we can to respond where we can. Okay? Anybody like to come up, please take the microphone, state your name for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes or less.
Hi, my name is Mark Davis. I'm glad to be here today. Appreciate the chance to give public comment. I actually have a couple paragraphs that I'd like to share with you. With your permission, I can give you this folder.
That'd be great. We'd be happy to have it.
Thank you, sir.
One for each of us.
I'm here regarding the 12th Street corridor preservation, and I would just like to bring to attention and suggest that the County Commission review the first page, Title 17 under Counties of Utah State Code, Chapter 27A, Section 406, Public Uses to conform to the general plan. After the legislative body has adopted a general plan, no street, park, or other public way, ground, place, or space, no publicly owned building or structure, and no public utility where publicly or privately owned may be constructed or authorized until and unless it conforms to the current general plan. In your packet I gave you, there's a map of the current Weber County general plan for western Weber County. If you'll examine that map, the proposed routes, the 12th Street corridor down 1150 South and 900. There are no actions about construction of that area unless it doesn't comply with this statute in state law. And so I'd just like your input. If you have any, if you don't, then I'd just like to bring it to your attention.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We'll take a look at what you provided us. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any others?
Eldon Davis. Also, although it's not on the agenda, I'd like to speak to that. This comes from Title 7252, Public Purposes. It's the second page that Mark handed out to you. And on the bottom end of that, the first part says about eminent domain, and we can do that. The second part, however, says that the legislature finds and declares that the acquisition of private property rights for the preservation of transportation corridors should be done on a voluntary basis and not by the use of eminent domain powers. We have been told that if we don't sell our property, then that's going to come to eminent domain powers. According to this, I'm a little concerned that what is actually right or not. So if you have some time to review that and could get back to us, certainly appreciate that.
Sounds good. Thank you. We will do that. Any others who would like to comment? Okay, going once. Come on up. Good to see you.
The question about the meeting was probably for me.
State your name for the record.
Carissa Heaps. We were just trying to find which meeting we needed to be able to attend so we could actually make comment to people who could make decisions. And so there was some not knowing which meeting that we needed to be at. So that was just wrong in the interpretation.
It's okay.
But
you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When I knew Eldon was going to be here, I just typed up a few of my thoughts this morning and just wanted to present maybe a view of the people on 12th Street that may help you understand better why you're not getting cheers and exultation from the people for the project that you've proposed. So I am here as a member of a group of concerned citizens, and we have met a few times, but I would say out of the 130 property owners that are going to be affected by this project, as a group, we've spoken to more than half of those people. And so I just wanted you to understand maybe where we're coming from. We question the timing and necessity of the expanded right-of-way and possible widening of 12th Street. Mr. Davis and others have tried to gather information. It's been difficult to get a yay or a nay from the county. They're very vague on what's really happening, and so it leaves us to wonder, and maybe we are making things worse in our mind because of lack of information. But under the circumstances, we feel like we have some valid concerns. Based on what has been explained to us by the county task force who are going house to house out in our area, the county says that this is their way of getting input, but just so you understand that many people feel like this is a level of intimidation because they're coming in a group and that some of these people are meeting with them alone and don't feel like they can express their concerns. We've been told that the project is partially funded by money that the county recently was awarded that has to be used to improve a road, and that the project has two parts, which is repairing and upgrading the existing road, and secondly, to purchase an additional 100-foot right-of-way that would be improved so it's available in the future for a 5-lane expansion if it's needed. Recently, the Standard Examiner and KSL came out and spoke with people out in our area and also with your office. And we're just always grasping at straws trying to get information about what's really happening. And some of the information that came out of that from your office was that the homeowners are acting too soon. The potential for a 5-lane highway here is still more than 10 years away. That the road design is still in the process, that they don't think that 5 lanes will be justified, and that construction would not begin for 3 years. But we feel like the county must be pretty confident in their design plans because we know that you are offering to purchase property already out there, and that's what we oppose is the purchase of that additional right-of-way for a project that may be 10 or more years in the future. So just to clarify that we don't have a problem with improving the road. I mean, today I counted 45 potholes on my way in and out of taking my kids to school. I have seen a couple of policemen in the last month or two, but we would love to have full-time patrolling out there. We believe that would do a lot in the safety of our road. Also, the big dump trucks coming from going out to the landfill out there, we're required to cover our loads, but they're not. Garbage flies out of those huge dumpsters. We would love to have the county give more attention to 12th Street and its safety and just maintaining the road. Our biggest concern about the right-of-way, purchasing the additional right-of-way, is that it comes within 10 to 20 feet from many of these people's front doors. One member of the task force conceded that we probably wouldn't be able to sell our home now, that it's been announced, because the value, I mean, it would be a loss of up to 20%, we've been told, in our value of our home. But I don't think that most people would even be able to sell now, because it's been announced of what may be happening. So he suggested that another option for property owners would be to take the damages payment from the county and use it to purchase a different home in a different location and to rent out their home. So I don't think that's a great option, and that may be what's happening in other areas in his experience. But we feel like that's a concession at the negative impact that this could have on our community, and we're very concerned about it. Another task force member has continually said that most of the people along the corridor support this project. And I just want to be a person here who says that that is not my experience. Like I said, we've spoken to more than half of the property owners along this road. And my experience has been that most agree that the road is dangerous. Many hope that the county will widen the shoulders, fill in the potholes, and enforce the law of speeding and passing. Some think it's pointless to express their opinion because this is a government project. The county's going to do whatever they want anyway, so they don't feel like they want to get involved. But no one has told me that they are in favor of selling additional right-of-way to the county for a project that may be decades in the future. So I don't know what you're hearing back from the people who represent you, but I just wanted to be someone here who represents people that I've personally spoken with, who are very concerned about the second part of this project, which is the purchasing of the additional 100-foot right-of-way. And we just ask that you consider our concerns valid, that you look for other less intrusive ways of planning for the future, because I do understand that's also your responsibility. But if you could try to, we were told that maybe the Planning Commission can just make it a requirement to set back new construction further, in preparation for the possibility that it may be needed in the future, but rather than buying people's front yards in case, that maybe there could be some kind of compromise to protect these people and their property where it's not an imminent need. And we would love to have an open discussion, especially with Commissioner Gibson, because we are your friends and neighbors, and we would appreciate that if you would meet with us directly and answer our questions directly. We would really appreciate that. That would mean a lot to us. And I think it would do a lot to improve the trust of the people along 12th Street and the county government when working with this project. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Ms. Heaps. All right, are there others? Okay, we'll be done with our public comment. I will have to be brief in my response, just because as I explained before, but I will just say this briefly, that your concerns are valid to me. As you said, this project will impact my family, me and my family as well, and so they are very valid. I see them on a personal basis, as well as having heard from many of my neighbors what their concerns are. So I really appreciate your request, and I think the best we can do right today on this particular issue is to, because of the situation with our agenda, is that I do know that our county engineer is here in the room. I know that Holland Wilbanks on the back row that handles public affairs is here as well. I hope that any of you who would like to talk with them would do so. Reality is, when we have issues like this come before us as a commission, it's sometimes a challenge because we are not engineers, we're not technical experts, and sometimes we can make things worse by acting like one. And so we have to provide a level of direction that's a little bit different than what some would hope and expect. But we are gaining more and more understanding of what the project is and how it will affect how the specifics will affect the residents, and we will certainly take that into account as we move forward. with the discussion. So hopefully you can get some of those details that you need from the technical experts, and we'll do our best to weigh in when we can. Okay, we'll move on then to our next item on the agenda, which is the assignment of the Pledge of Allegiance and Thought of the Day for Tuesday, January 20th, 2015 at 10 a.m. The Pledge of Allegiance, I'm guessing that we're going to have some technical assistance here with our live streaming again for another week or two. Javis, would you be willing to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Yes, sir. Okay, appreciate that. He's one of our excellent staff over at IT who does a wonderful, great job for us, and we're excited. Have we broke any records yet today on this live streaming thing? Not quite. We're hoping to break a record since it's the second week. Let's ramp it up and do a little better next week, all right?
Double digits.
We were in double digits. We were about 20 last week. Okay, so Javis will offer or lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thought of the day will be Commissioner Ebert. Just kidding, it's Commissioner Bell. We just wanted to skip him. All right, Commissioner Bell will give us the Pledge of Allegiance. Or excuse me, the Thought of the Day. I guess that's all we got. Okay, so we'll move to the next item on our agenda, which is item I, the request for a closed meeting to discuss strategy relating to pending or imminent litigation. So we'll take that motion.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session.
I'll second it.
Motion is second then to go into closed meeting to discuss the strategy relating to pending or imminent litigation. Is there discussion?
It's a roll call.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Bell?
Aye.
Commissioner Ebert?
Aye.
Chair Gibson?
Aye. Passes unanimously. We will be back. Stay tuned.